Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. I'm a board game reviewer. It's my full-time job. I'm 43 years old, and I'm doing a series here on games that really changed my life. And today's game, or two games actually, were back-to-back, so I'm putting them together because of what they did for me. So the first game is Fortress America. Fortress America was given to me. A friend of my father's gave this to me. He knew I liked board games, and so he gave this big, grandiose game. Now, this is part of the Game Master series from Milton Bradley. At the time, I believe these games were like 50 bucks, which back in 89, 90, or whatever year it was that I got this, that was not a inexpensive thing to get. You know, this was a big giant gift, and when I opened it, it just blew my mind because I had seen some Avalon Hill war games, but here I saw tons of miniatures, and the whole premise, which was the United States staving off 3 different communist-led attacks on there. I hadn't seen the movie Red Dawn at this point, but it was definitely like that, and definitely I had grown up in the Cold War era, and so this was just fascinating to me. And the rule book, which was huge, it was one of the biggest rule books I had ever read. This just kind of blew my mind, and so I went and I sat and I read through the rule book for Fortress America, and I played it over and over and over. Played it with my friends. I played as America. I played against America. I talked about strategies, and this was an important game to me because this kind of brought war games to the table for me. Had never really been a big war gamer up to that point, other than, you know, abstracted chess and Stratego and things like that. And some of the, like I said, the Avalon Hill rules kind of eluded me, like what are these charts and everything. This, I could see the pieces, and it had this futuristic idea along with it, and we had so much fun playing this because it had the idea of those little green army men I played with, but here we're playing with them in some future battle that could happen in the future, you know, we thought. And this game taught me about strategies for games. I would sit and think about, what am I going to do next? How am I going to handle these attacks? I would sit there, I would go through the cards, I sat and thought about percentages and all sorts of things that I didn't put that much thought into a board game before. Then my neighbor said, "You have Fortress America, look what I have. I have Axis and Allies." What? This was even more crazy to me because this was another one in that series. And this was World War II, something I had been reading about for years. And so we got that out, and I was like, well, it's not as good as Fortress America, but still, you know, you have the 3-on-2, and there's so many different ways to play this, and you have money, and you can buy upgrades, and you can buy troops, and stacks of poker chips. And both these games gave me this feeling of this grandiosity, which is just not found in board games that like Stratego and the smaller games. You didn't sit there and feel like there was something epic going on. This was the first time that the epic feeling hit me from a board game. And we would play these over long summer days, sitting around like little generals, reliving World War II or pre-living whatever war was happening in Fortress America with the little troops moving around. And this taught me that games, even though there was a lot of chucking of dice involved, that there was strategy involved in these games, and that games could be this big, wonderfully epic experience. And I haven't played either of these games in probably, I don't know, a decade probably since I played either Axis and Allies or Fortress America. But these were so instrumental to me that when I moved to Korea way later in my early 20s, and I was looking for games to play, and I saw that there was Axis and Allies spin-offs like Axis and Allies D-Day and Axis and Allies Europe and Axis and Allies Asia. These were the things that said, I want these. I know that game. That's fun. These are variants on it, and that led me down a long rabbit hole. So these games were directly responsible for bringing me into this and reading it. And later on, when I went to college, I used both Fortress America and Axis and Allies to start a board game club, which was a big deal for me. And Axis and Allies was one of the first games I ever looked up online, ideas and strategies and mods that I could change the game. So these games both had a big effect on me, and that's why I'm talking about them. I'm Tom Vasel, and these have been games that have changed my life.